In previous sessions, I told you the basic concepts of Java, and we created three basic structures or three basic classes inside Java. First is server, second is client, and third is chat message. So hope you understand this part. You can create one package also and you can use that also here, but I'm going with directly like this. So let us see what we are going to do here now. So first, what I'm going to mention is here some unique IDs and private variables to establish the connection. So first is basically unique ID for each connection. Like I'm considering here 2-3 clients at a time for the connection. Client means user, again I'm telling. So for each connection we need to create unique ID. For that purpose, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mention a private static. I am using here static keyword, static int unique ID. So this is gray in color, as you can see is here, because we haven't created this part. And okay, we haven't used that part. Then I'm considering here is as array list. So what is the array list? Is basically it's composed of array plus list. You can consider like that, single database inside the list to keep list of all clients. So what I'm going to create is here again private array list. So it will invoke this part. Let me do one thing is, which is basically default library array list, which is basically I'm going to create is here client thread. I haven't mentioned the client thread and etc parts here. In later part I will explain what is the client thread, each and everything here. Now to display time when that is mentioned, what I'm going to do is here private, there is one default simple date format, which is basically date, SDF I'm mentioning here for simple date and format. Then port connection is also here is private in port. To check server is running or not, I'm going to create here as boolean variable. Again it should be private, always private boolean keep, I'm mentioning is here as keep going as boolean part. And notification is basically nothing but you can say the for if you have seen some what we can say notification type, we can print here is considering here is star 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 3 star before any notification. So this is all about how we can do. So this is I'm setting the server basically. So I mentioned all things here. I will tell you what is client thread in later part, but remember this. Now let us create one constructor here. Constructor to receive the port to listen. I will tell you what is the listening and each and every part to for connection as parameter. So I will mention it will be the okay. Let us consider this only. So the port basically first this dot okay. Let me mention first public server default constructor I'm considering here is in port. Then the port is basically this dot port is equal to port. Then display date. For the displaying date, what I'm going to create is here is df is equal to new simple date format you have to mention, and inside this you have to mention HH, hour, minute, then seconds format as I mentioned here. So this is basically the pattern. We need to create a array list also here, because I'm mentioning is here array list for clients. AL is equal to new, and copy this part because this is very similar. And I'm going to use this only. So I will tell you what is we are going to create here and each and everything. So this is all about our basic setup of server. So in later days I will explain everything, what is socket and each and everything. So remember what I did is here I created some variables, or you can say defined things here. First is unique ID to create each and every time unique ID for each connection, unit ID. Then I created array list which consists of client threads. I will tell you how we can create client thread and each and everything, which is basically named as AL. Simple date and format to mention the date and date format here. Then private int basically for the port connection. Then server running to check server is running or not. I'm going to create here boolean form, keep going. And again string to create a notification before any message or before anything. I'm creating a notification part. So these all things are in a what we can say Java only, in private because for the what we can say abstraction purpose no one can change this part. Then in public I'm considering a constructor to receive port to listen basically, which is public server in port, and this port I'm assigning directly. Then display date and array list for the clients. So this is all about how we can create each and everything part. So in the further part I will tell you what is the basic socket and each and everything. So now we are set up with our basic things. So let us consider what is things we are going to use here. So we are considering here as a socket. What is a socket? You know the electric socket. Each and every plug has a socket you need to put inside that socket. Basic electric socket, or we can say electric supply socket. Similarly, socket is a one endpoint of two-way communication link between two programs running on the network. So server and client. Server has some socket inside that part. Using a port and server address, I'm going to create here a socket. What clients will do? Clients will plug their code on that socket and it will be throughout the network. So using such mechanism, I'm going to create a communication link between many clients or clients and server. The socket mechanism provides inter-process communication, IPC, by establishing named as a contact points between two communication. We can mention the name for that contact communication also. So this is the basic thing of socket. So we can create a socket inside server. We are going to create sockets inside server only. No need to create a socket inside client, because we are providing a client interface, or we can say we are providing a user interface for the clients only, not we are going to create server part here. So for that purpose we are going to create socket inside only server. Here I am considering TCP protocol. What is TCP protocol in networking? Is a transmission control protocol. Is basically that use the top of IP address to ensure the transmission of packets. So all the data, all we are going to use here is converted into bytecode. It converts into packets. It will display to the another client. So likewise that it will create. And TCP includes some mechanisms like if lost of packet, out of order packet, corrupted packets, it has inbuilt that part, and also Java uses that part. So what is the listening is basically TCP is listening is basically server is waiting for the clients to connect that part is a listening. So for that purpose, I created a Boolean variable keep going. That is my server is running now. You can use that part, or you can say you can connect any client to that server. So this is basic for the server, or we can say it is simple thing like I created a socket inside server. Now the socket, I create socket which consists many ports, and any many clients you use that part, or you can use that socket, and now my server is live on the network. Any client can connect that part. So this is all about all the things. So what is the server and clients basically? Server is basically, you can say, system which consists all the server side code. Clients has some client side codes. Throughout the internet we can connect that server. So I can tell you that this is the socket for creating or connecting the clients to the server. So what is the thing is behind this, how our chat system is going to work? If my client 1 is running on this, it will go through the internet, it will go to the server. Server will use that and check that which clients he wants to or she wants to that send that. It will check. If it's for all, it will go to the all. If not, it will go to the that particular client. And then that second client is also connected using the same socket but different same socket, or we can say same port, each and everything, but the part or connection is different, like connecting 2-3 wires inside same socket, you can say, as an electrical part. Similarly, I'm going to do this. So this is all about the server client I'm going to consider. I'm not considering here it is a mobile device, but I added here, but I'm not creating any mobile device interface or anything. So TCP server client process I'm going to explain. So what is this client process and server process? Because as a multi-threading part, as I told you, we can run many processes in a Java, or we can run many programs inside a Java only. So TCP is a server process and client process dividable. So client process considering socket layer, protocol layer, device layer. So you can say I can use such parts and I can connect client to the server, and I can connect many clients to that server. For the connection of many client, I'm going to use here a multi-threading part. So let us see how we can create such things inside Java. So for as I told you, inside server program I already created this. Now I need to mention a public void start. So I will explain what is the basic thing is here is start. So what is public void start is basically starting my process. Now I am mentioning keep going is equal to true, because it should be server is live. Live means basically is alive or it's running. Now I am going to create a socket server and wait for connection request. I'm going to wait for connection request. Now always remember, create a try catch block here first. But before the try explaining the catch, I will create a logic inside try only first. Socket used by server, because I'm mentioning here which socket my server is going to use here is server socket. So remember this, I'm going to mention this again. What is server socket? So for this purpose, I need to import Java Net library. My IDE explains that you need to import Java Net library here. So what I can do is I will import java.net.star. Also, what I'm going to do is here I'm mentioning here star. So as you can see, this error is running. So inside Java Net library, server socket method is already explained. No need to create from basic socket each and everything. The syntax is very similar. server socket, I need to mention the port. So that's it, how I'm going to create here. So why this is showing me error? Because I haven't created a clash block. So now I'm in infinite loop to wait for connection. So why we need infinite loop? Because our program should always listening for a request from clients to connect our server. For that purpose, I'm considering here is an infinite loop. So in the next part, I'm going to explain how we can create infinite loop and each and everything. So I will use some default codes and each and everything. In the next part, I will explain this. So this is all about how we can do the server socket. I already created a server socket which is using this port.